and welcome back to the Second Lunch Podcast. This is a big episode. This is episode number 40, assuming this ever sees the light of day. Welcome. Thanks for tuning back in. Our last episode with Mr. Harkins actually did really well, so thanks everybody who checked that out, all of our new listeners. Let's get down to the important stuff. It is St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
We're both wearing green.
I know. I've got the rare jersey on.
Let's have it on the fucking record. We were wearing green today. Nobody can pinch us. That was the worst. That always pissed me off in school. When, like, St. Patrick's Day, if you weren't wearing green. I thought I built up enough credit wearing green the rest of the year between the Sonics and the Packers. I was wearing green. So if I, for some reason, forgot to wear it that day, I was like, okay, well, let's look at the notes here. Let's check back on all the other fucking days here. Let's not pinch me. That's assault, brother.
Yeah, but you got to do it. I mean, it is what it is. What I will say is it's class warfare because not everybody's got the opportunity to just wear whatever fucking dumbass color everybody wants them to wear any day of the week.
I have 3 shirts.
Did I get down to the laundromat today? You know, I don't have laundry in my fucking unit. Like, the whole thing.
Are we declaring war on St. Patrick's Day?
That's in as much as I was completely serious about it being class warfare. No, I'm one of the many Americans that's, you know, like 40% Irish, and so claims some bullshit, like whatever you would call that, false pride. I mean, I was going to drink today anyway, to be honest.
Right.
It is a great excuse to wear this jersey, but that's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when else can you wear a green Cardinals jersey? You get the one day during spring training.
Yeah, you just look like an asshole any other time. It's the one day you don't look like a complete jerk.
Festive.
Yeah, right.
So Uncle Dave was here this last week, which meant
how many days?
There were enough for really any amount of time with Uncle Dave. You're gonna get some quotes.
Yeah.
Here's a couple of my favorite. This was just from one day of hanging out with him. Quote: Mountain Dew and Twinkies should be their own food group.
Well,
he was serious about that. That was not a joke.
They shouldn't, but you can do what you want, Dave. You know, nobody's telling you that you can't do that. You know, I would argue that you're already living the lifestyle that has made them a food group. I think you've already, like, spoken this into existence.
Dude, I'll tell you, he came over with my mom, because my mom comes over once a week to hang out with Kendall, and he came over with her. I don't keep soda in the house, because then I'll drink soda and I don't need to be doing that.
Yeah.
So he asked for something to drink, and it hit me that I didn't have Mountain Dew for this man. And he was very polite about it. He just had some water. I offered him a LaCroix, and he said, "LaCroix? No, I'll just have some water." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
That is indeed a far shout from the electric sugar that is Mountain Dew.
Electric sugar. He got maybe 2 hours into his visit before he was really jonesing for a Dew. And he was trying to nip out to the store to go get one, which I assumed he had an ulterior motive, because this man is going to get cigarettes. That was what I was gleaning from the situation.
Yeah. Well, similar addiction, it sounds like.
Right.
It's just, you just fingered the wrong one. Yeah.
I guarantee you this man has not bought one of those things without buying the other in decades.
Cigarettes and Dew, that's very close to, like, the construction worker breakfast.
That actually reminds me. Yeah. This is another quote. 3 meals a day, Mountain Dew, cigarettes, and bacon.
Oh, my God. Dave. I'm sure that he's in, like, better health than I am, because that's, like, the grand irony of life. But, Dave, pump the brakes a little bit.
Right.
I mean, there's also something, and it's not like it's any less healthy than another soda, but there is something about Dew being, and I say this as a fellow Dew favorite, that is my favorite soda. I have like 2 a year, because it's like a treat.
Yeah.
But there is something about, like, putting away 8 cans of that just feels like it's going to harm you more than, I don't know, lead contamination.
He damn near caused a scene in a Mexican restaurant because they didn't carry Mountain Dew. He nearly nearly came unglued.
This is very funny to me because Mexico, well, it's not really a fun fact. It's not a great thing, but they are by far the highest per capita consumers of Coca-Cola product in the world, which doesn't mean every Mexican restaurant's going to carry Coke, but there is something to be said about, like, Dave, this is one place you maybe ought not expect the Pepsi products. Like, just the logical, but there isn't an equivalent, you know? I think Coca-Cola, do they make Mellow Yellow? That shit ain't the same.
He asked for that.
That's such a rarity.
And I was like, I'm not even sure they make that anymore.
I'm pretty sure that you can find, but you have to go to like a supermarket that wheels and deals in all things soda. You've got to go to your Walmart or something.
As this was playing itself out and the other patrons were looking at us, I started thinking of different ways this could go in my head. You know what I mean? When you kind of separate yourself from the situation and you're like, how's this going to end? In my head, he said, I'll just take a Coke and I'll add some sugar to it.
Oh my God.
That's where I was sure this was going. He was going to get a Coke and put some sugar packets in it to really liven it up. I was half right. He just got a Coke. But he wasn't. He made a scene about. Almost made a scene. He was loud.
Yeah,
the server was nervous.
I'm sure also caught off guard because it's one. You know, you've got like a drunk customer. I mean, I worked at a grocery store for like 7 years. You had certain customers that you kind of knew your way around. They might be a little prickly, but when you're just telling somebody you don't have Mountain Dew, you're not braced for the fury coming back at you. I'm also kind of thinking of, and I don't know why I thought of this, but there's kind of like an incredulous disbelief that I always think of when Aaron Rodgers got hurt. If you were watching the Manning broadcast, there's sort of the 5 stages of grief that Peyton Manning goes through, basically at the prospect of having to watch Zach Wilson play quarterback, where initially Rodgers goes down and he's like, oh man, you know, that's not good. He's like, he's still not in the game. And then there's the moment where they bring out the cart and he's like, hands behind the head, like, God dang it, like, I can't. You're just like...
now there's going to be video evidence of me having to watch Zach Wilson play.
Yeah, and I was doing a good job of playing it cool because in my heart I knew there was still a Mountain Dew Aaron Rodgers possibility out there. But as that chance evaporated... my hope turned to ashes in my mouth.
So there's another quote I heard him say multiple times, and this is just what I would call an Uncle Dave ism. He says he has a lot of terms of phrase. I'll just tell you what
my
it
dad's
is,
the same
and you
way.
can tell me idiom. What is it? No.
Yeah, idiom would be the.
I'll tell you, that's like a sore pecker. You can't beat it. Lots of those, tons of those. He's chock full of them, but that was the one that stuck in my craw.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'll throw out a Mike one, which is smoking a cigarette with a filter's like sucking tit through a sweater.
Okay, that's extremely good. Nobody wants to do that. Come on.
Yeah, except the tit through a sweater isn't, you know, smoking out the house.
True.
Also, living in Washington, fucking tobacco, this is not a cheap thing to be addicted to around here. Shits are $11.
I'll just say it. I would personally prefer the tit through a sweater if it's me.
It's versus a Lucky Strike.
Yeah.
Or a Rollie with top tobacco. Jesus, kill me now.
Oh man, speaking of smoking, Uncle Dave is obviously a chimney. He's always smoking, right? He has a hard time getting to sleep. And so he decided to try to find a solution to that. He went to his local gas station where you go for all these things.
Yeah.
And
definitely where I go for my weird dick pills.
He
you know, the horny goat weed, they've got that on lock for years.
Well, so he asked I still don't completely understand this story, so I'm not entirely sure it's true, but this is how it was presented to me.
He's a man of tall tales.
He got these gummies, and he took them, and he started feeling weird. And he's like, well, I'm not going to use these anymore. And he just throws them in with his other... I mean, I don't know why he didn't throw them away, but he just threw them in with his other pills. Like, whatever, just live in there.
It's medicine now.
Yeah, it just lives there in case...
I need to feel weird again.
In case I need to feel weird again, yeah. So he comes here, and he's telling my mom about these gummies that made him feel weird. And she's like, "Well, what are they? Let me see them. I don't quite understand what you're talking about. They're THC gummies."
I thought that had to have been. It's either that or he ate a bunch of fiber gummies, and he's like,
So,
"Oh,
there's a
yeah. Oh, my stomach."
Holy shit! That reminds me. One time I got really high and ate like 10 Fiber One bars. Don't do that. Don't do that.
That's how you crack the toilet bowl, folks.
Do not do that. So anyway, they're THC gummies, and my mom's like, "It says THC right here." He's like, "I didn't look that closely. I thought it said the."
The gummies.
The gummies. And he didn't think anything of that. And that's what he said. He's like, "I just thought they were really good." The gummies.
Not a bad brand name. You know, in fairness to Dave, he may have stumbled on something there accidentally. You know,
but there's a couple things happening here. For starters,
why is the gas station
selling?
Exactly.
He somehow got THC gummies at a ast station. My dad's like, "You better call Dylan," which is his son, who loves weed.
Yeah.
Big fan. But it's illegal in Wisconsin.
Right.
So he's like, "You better call Dylan and tell him to go buy that place out." He'll love that. In fact, there's a cookbook on our wall when Uncle Dave was sitting in the kitchen. It says Instant Pot recipes. He's like, "Oh, Dylan would love that." God damn it. God damn it, Dave.
Are you doing a bit, Dave? Or, or do
but
you
also,
a lot
he
of weed
accidentally
butter?
Smuggled drugs.
Yeah, I did the same thing in Ireland.
Into Washington, where it's legal.
Yeah, that is extremely funny. To take them from an illegal place. Sir, I just have more questions. They're like not even going to charge him with a crime. Yeah, I accidentally took a vape pen to Ireland, and this would sound like it was truly...
Is it not legal there, I'm guessing?
No, not legal there. I don't think that the attitudes towards it are particularly harsh, but, you know, being a stranger in a strange land, I was like, I'm not going to ask around.
Probably shouldn't also bring drugs.
Yeah, so it was not my intent, because if I knew that I had brought it, I would have smoked the hell out of it a lot sooner. But on, like, day 8, I found it in my toiletries bag, because I had, like, thrown one in there, a disposable on a camping trip. Yeah, got real high and paranoid real quick. Let's go to the streets of Ireland in a cloak of fear.
God, if any place needs to get fucking high, Jesus Christ, the place is gloomy.
It's definitely gray as shit. Like, I'm sure people that travel there on vacation, you know, that are from Texas just bitch about the weather. For the Seattleites, it was more or less, you know, just dinner as usual. Like, it was,
right.
You know, there were a couple days we got rained on hard, but yeah.
It was October.
Oh, it's August and it fucking sucks outside. I've seen a couple of these days. Yeah.
Man, I would almost have preferred that. I told you when I was in Italy how fucking hot it was. We were there in August.
Yeah.
It was fucking hot.
Yeah. Yeah. There are quite a few degrees further south on the old
Houston, Florida, Italy. 3 hottest places I've ever been in my life.
Yeah, not shocking.
Arizona, I've been there when it's been 120, and it didn't touch Houston at 90.
Yeah, that's valid. Houston being a coastal city, it's far more humid. Like, you don't... I've been in Vegas and Phoenix when it's been 120. Also been in Pasadena when it was like $111, which was... as a cooker. But
yeah, oh boy.
But yeah, none of those were as hot as Missouri in the middle of summer. 100 degrees was
different.
Yeah, we were at a music festival years ago in Chicago, and there was a heat wave during the festival. It's actually the only time I've seen, you know, the opportunity to make money passed on instead, and they saved lives instead, because it was so fucking hot that charging $8 for water was actually going to get people killed.
Yeah.
Like, whether it was through dehydration or somebody murdering somebody for water. So, yeah, that hot is different. But I haven't been that many other, you know, I haven't got a chance to do that much international travel. I'm sure if I went to, like, Oman, I would get my ass kicked. But
all right. We ready for Tinderella?
Yeah,
God,
let's do it.
The longest intro we've ever had. How fucking long was that?
I don't know. It was good.
37 decades.
It's got to be a good, like, 12 minutes or so. Okay. If you were summoning my spirit from beyond the grave, what 5 things would you put in the pentagram to summon me?
Gin.
Yeah, that's a good, yeah.
Weed. vinyl sale.
Yeah. These are all good.
A good boxing match.
Yeah, that's not as physically tangible, but yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, a TV with a boxing match on it. Jesus Christ. Did I already say beer?
No.
Beer.
So yeah, well, and I think you've got to specify which one what the preferred brand would be.
Well, I don't know what you drink by yourself versus what you drink with me.
Well, the gas station, doesn't sell my preferred cheap beer, my lifer.
I would guess Coors Banquet.
There we go. Ding, ding, ding.
It's a good beer. It's good.
All right, Chris, for you, I'm going to say some tequila.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
You had gin, beer, and weed. I had 3 intoxicants in my list. On that note, Rainier? I'm thinking of Rainier.
I love me some Diddlers. That
and
or
Pepperoni. Then I'm going to say a Packers jersey, but we got to get more specific on this. I want to say, there's quite a few good choices. I want to say Reggie White, which right there.
I'm rocking.
Perfect.
Currently.
Yeah. But I know that a niche key or a sterling sharp could be used to summon something.
You rang.
And I don't want to double up on the jersey, but there's got to be a Giannis related,
something Giannis related.
Yeah, maybe a signed basketball or something just to change up the. I need a fifth thing. The fifth thing be.
Probably porn.
Yeah. I'm not going to think of a more accurate one than that. But yeah, I think I'd get your spirit through the Ouija board on that one.
I came for the jerseys. I stayed for the porn.
All right, you're being sold as an action figure. What 2 accessories do you come with?
Beer and porn.
They're on your person. The beer, sure, walk into a party, but you don't walk into a party with a crate.
Bunch of crate of porn. It's a duffel bag. Remember, it's a duffel bag.
Right. That's right. It is a duffel bag, not a milk crate.
No, it's just one magazine rolled up in my back pocket.
It's easy access.
Yeah.
That's one
of
those.
You guys seen this? You heard about this? Clits, huh?
It's like, sir, what you're doing is not illegal, but I am calling the cops. This is some sort of menacing. There's some misdemeanor associated.
This isn't illegal, but something is illegal about you. Yeah, they'll get you for something.
Has to be civil disobedience or something. I don't know what your plan is. That's like seeing a guy with hot sauce in his pocket, where you're like, okay, I like hot sauce, but you need to calm down. Your Tabasco addiction, it's Uncle Dave Do levels here.
Yeah. I didn't know they made bottles you could conceal that easily. What about you?
So definitely emotional support weed vape. Got to have that on my person. What would my other item be? God, for years it would have been my iPod Classic, the 160 gig. Years before streaming, that would have been the thing that's the desert island. We don't need to get into the battery dying. Just that's a desert island possession. But nowadays, that's a very antiquated thing. So, what would my second item be? Been playing a lot of PS5 lately. I got to be honest.
The show just came out.
The show. I'm also a sucker for the new wrestling game, so I've spent $200 on video games this week. Good lord!
WWE game.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah. Ashley's like, isn't this fake fighting? Well, in a video game, you really do hit a guy with a sledgehammer. They don't have to pull back. There's no need to act. You could just actually hit a guy with a sledgehammer. It's a video game.
I didn't even think about the video game being a simulation of fake fighting.
Right.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, there's probably some deeper philosophy to it was an allegory of the cave kind of thing. I don't know, but yeah, it's you are recreating good choreography basically.
Extremely funny point by Ashley. Give her points for that. That is good.
Which type of burrito you're more attracted to, long and skinny or big girthy boy? Going for the chode of the burrito world.
Oh man, I don't know. I actually don't know. It's hard because I appreciate a burrito. Except for wet burritos. I don't understand the point in that. Also, why would you call it a wet? Call it something else.
Wet burrito.
Wet burrito.
It's definitely could use better branding, for sure.
For sure.
Wet with what? Like,
rainwater.
Rainwater.
Dry it off.
Yeah.
Rainwater. It's just sitting in the back of the fridge a while.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's got the condensation from the top of the Tupperware. No, I don't.
Yeah. I gotta say, I may prefer the big girthy boy. I eat a lot of, oh boy, this was not a feather I knew I was gonna ruffle today.
You going the mission style burritos?
I prefer Qdoba over Chipotle.
Oh, that's fine. I'm a Taco Del Mar purist, so.
Okay.
I'm going with the local guys.
It's strictly because they have pickled jalapenos and Chipotle does not. If Chipotle had pickled jalapenos, it would actually completely sway me. But
yeah, that is a very solid ingredient to have.
Ooh, in a burrito. Oh yeah. I just brought out the Italian fingers for that. I really feel it. I think I'm gonna go big girthy boy. Although I appreciate the long skinny guy.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with the big California style burrito. Although I guess have you gone to?
I'm actually changing my mind now that I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna go skinny because I feel like with a big girthy boy, you bite on one side and it's like, okay, well that was a bunch of rice. I gotta bite on the other side now and get all the other shit.
I see what. Yeah, ingredient distribution can be lacking,
exactly,
and
exactly.
Certainly, if you ever have like this doesn't happen to you at Chipotle, but when you've got the shitty Taco Bell burrito and you're like, oh, I see all the sour cream was located in one pocket. What a wonderful bite. Yeah. You guys want to spread this out a little bit? If you could ride a tandem bicycle with anyone, who would it be? I need somebody that's going to do a lot of the work here.
Yeah, I was thinking like AJ Dillon.
Yeah, it was like Usain Bolt. Like,
yeah, so I could just kick up my legs in the front.
Yeah, he'll get my fat ass up the hill.
I was also thinking who would be funny to see on a bike.
Well, yeah, like
Peter Griffin.
Like, yeah, me and Rodney Dangerfield would probably be like, it'd be a great quarter mile,
There's no real audio. It's just.
Yeah, yakety sax playing. He runs into one doorway, I run into another, then I come out and he's in a wheelbarrow I'm carrying. You've seen him. All right, I guess Rodney is I specifically want Rappin' Rodney. I want the version of Rodney Dangerfield that released a rap single. Do time rules apply to airport drinking? I'm just going to jump in right now and say there's no laws in the airport.
Absolutely not.
It's basically survival. People are brought down to their most, base instincts.
I think they should give you a shot on the way in. Like, if you ever been to a jewelry store in Mexico, give you a shot of tequila, try to, loosen you up, get you to buy something on the way in. They should do that at the airport. Everybody should have to take a shot.
Somebody tried to summon me to buy something with, tequila in 98 degree heat. Like, you want some of this?
God, we did that one time. My mom just kept coming out and going back in. She just went and they kept hooking her up.
How do you not recognize Karen by the fifth attempt, though?
I think
at that point they're just
I think she was gaming a system that did not need to be gamed. Yeah. Because they wanted her to be drunk. They're like, okay,
yeah,
it's better our chances you're going to buy something.
Yeah, the story ends with she did actually end up buying something. It's
Rich certainly did. Rich got bamboozled into buying quite a lot of jewelry.
For probably 300 pesos worth of tequila. I think that's $6 or something.
Oh,
it's not.
It reminds me of all the times I went to Mexico and I bartered just for the sake of bartering. I had plenty of money. My parents would have given me more, but I thought it was pretty cool. And now I look back on it and I'm like, those people needed to feed their kids.
Well, yeah. I mean, in fairness, though, I remember in Spanish classes, them talking about that culturally, and I understand as a child where you would be like, oh, this is fun, and not necessarily. Because, again, I definitely remember in Spanish class, oh, yeah, learning that's, then thinking, when I go to Mexico, I'm going to barter. Mm-hmm. That's that's how I'm part of the people.
Yeah. The people.
Yeah. All right. So I think that was Tinderella for today. What else we got here? We got, oh yeah, Felix. I want to talk about Felix and his domestic terrorism. All he does is sleep for 20 hours. Absolute terror. He broke my keyboard on Friday.
What?
Yeah, so he does this thing where he sits behind.
Was he walking on the keys, playing a little jig, and then?
See, I like when he does that because he does like to, roll around on the keyboard. But
Comes out with Mozart somehow. What? Got magic in them paws, kitty.
No, all he does with his paws is destroy. He likes to sit behind the monitor and try to grab my hand as I'm typing. So I was trying to finish my email, so I pulled the keyboard away, and he just clawed a key completely out.
No. Oh, your computer keyboard.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
I was thinking your music keyboard.
No, okay, that's very fair. That was poor clarity on my part, and that makes,
well, fuck the keyboard, dude. That's fine. At least it wasn't the music one.
No, that would have been a far more frustrating.
It would have been funny you typing emails on a piano, though.
Yeah, because he broke my actual fucking keyboard. I had to rewire this thing. Yeah, he's, I'm starting to regret saving his life. I think we already talked about, his giving him daily shots for 84 days. Cats don't enjoy that, turns out. They don't like getting...
Well, you see, this is why he can't be King Felix, because he's got too much... He can get away with anything. He's got too much power.
Can he go 8 innings, though? Because that, if he can do that...
8 innings of what? Destroying keyboards? Yeah. How many keys you got, bitch? Let's try.
I watched him the other day try to jump onto the top of the Kallax, the record shelf, and he doesn't quite get all the way up there and just knocks a bunch of books over and then runs off, kicks a bunch of books behind the shelf. Good job. Good job. He also has knocked over a bunch of, I think one day I couldn't even go to the office because he had knocked my wallet off the table and I couldn't find it, so then I had no means to pay for parking. He's a good cat.
That is the best excuse I've ever heard for not going to work. Well, my cat knocked over my wallet, so you're just going to have to find somebody else.
I legitimately could not find that. All right, Chris, your question on the archaeology front.
Oh, yeah. I got to know. I've been thinking about this. I've been watching a lot of documentaries.
Yeah.
Because I'm unemployed. And I'm going to educate myself.
That's a good use of your time.
Doggone it. Where is all this dirt coming from? Why is everything buried?
Well, I bet the erosion of rocks over many years turns into dirt.
But why? How? What? There's so much of it. How did Alexandria get buried?
I mean, enough time goes, enough.
Some of those buildings are 3 stories. That's 30 feet of dirt covering an entire city.
I mean, there's dunes in the Sahara Desert that are
also at
10
some
times
point.
That height.
Why didn't somebody just sweep?
That's
How are you letting your city get buried?
I think that we probably live in a time where sweeping is an easier thing to do, and you don't have as many competing priorities survival wise.
Why didn't we sweep? We were trying to get food.
How'd they let the Colosseum turn into this? Well,
oh my God, I found out some crazy shit about the Colosseum, actually. The reason it's all fucked up, and this is probably not even going to be interesting for the podcast, but the reason it's all fucked up and looks the way that it is now is because it fell into disrepair. People actually lived in there. There were houses. There was a church in the Colosseum until the 1850s or something like that, I think.
Oh, wow.
But while they were living in there, these were poor people. They were mining it's not marble, but whatever it's made out of to sell it.
Yeah.
So a bunch of it started crumbling, and then there was an earthquake, so half of it fucking fell down, and they're like, let's make some more shit out of this. Yeah. So there's a couple buildings in Rome that are made out of
old Colosseum parts. Interesting.
All right, headlines. As you know, this is our education segment, making sure people are up on current events.
Yeah.
Let's start with a really important one here. New Jersey home vandalized with pepperoni. Quote, as an Italian, it hurts the heart.
Was this a hate crime?
I thought this.
Yeah, was this like a deliberate, like, oh, we'll get the Italian guy?
In that case, I'm Italian. If anybody's trying to vandalize my
you're like Stanley getting meatballs or something. Like, oh, what a shame.
Yeah.
House covered in pepperoni again.
Damn it.
But of all the foods to, again, if this is a hate crime, I would go with something with a little more bang for your buck vandalism-wise, like
Sour
a
cream.
pasta sauce or something. Well, yeah, like it's a bigger mess,
yeah.
make a bigger mess. Like pepperoni, I just don't feel like that's going to be that effective,
Yeah, it feels like no matter how much you pressure wash the marinara, your deck's never clean.
Yeah, it's like a Tupperware forever.
Oh, pesto.
That
would...
Now that's expensive,
Yeah,
but
it would be expensive.
but it's going to smell good.
If you're going to commit a hate crime, commit to it. You know what I mean? It's commit a hate crime, not back into a hate crime.
Yeah, it is. This passionate contempt for the Italian people that we've conjured here. But okay, so hate crime jokes aside, I do, I do wonder though. Okay, if that's like just completely incidental, what was your beef with this guy? What earned the Pepperoni vendetta?
Right. Well, it was a woman for starters. My issue is
fairly discriminatory for me to assume it was a guy subject of a hate crime.
What? Why did we have to do this to pepperoni?
Yeah, again, I mean, if you buy the Hormels, it's not the most expensive thing, but still, I just think
we're also
this
assuming these are slices of pepperoni,
not just the entire log.
Yeah.
If somebody launches a summer sausage, it's gonna go through your window, man.
There's somebody with one of those fucking
like a trebuchet
just catapulting pepperoni at your house.
Is it spoiled? Why are you so keen on getting rid of it?
Right.
Because again, I'm just hung up on like the cost and effectiveness. Because if I wanted to do like solid food object, I'd probably go with like Kraft singles. Because you can stick those on anything. Yeah. That'd probably be a pain. Yeah.
Those are sticky.
And there's no crime committed food wise because they're terrible. They have their place melting on a burger.
Okay,
but,
Kraft, say, wait, hold on.
But yeah, they've got their
Nobody's
one use.
Just eating a Kraft single. You know what I mean?
Only the most deranged of us. Only the most sinister characters you've met. Just the Homer Simpson when he eats 64 slices of cheese overnight. Like just peeling Kraft singles one by one, and then he goes blind in the morning. Like that's the exact sort of, I think, fear. That episode may have actually played a role in my concern about the Kraft singles.
All right, hospital. This is a good one. Hospital evacuates after French man entered with World War I explosive lodged in his rectum.
So. I'm assuming this is deliberate, right? You found the explosive. It happened to have a nice shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is promising.
You know what? I'm going to give the French this. They like butt stuff. And I got to like them for
a lot of openness there. But I would say that take it easy when it comes to the explosives.
Yeah. Maybe not something that could blow up, not just your rectum.
Right.
Rectum? Damn near killed him.
That is never going to be more appropriate than this particular story. Right. But did he enter the hospital because he realized that the explosive was potentially going to harm him, or did the butt stuff he was engaged in go too far and they were like, sir, this is an explosive? And he was like, whatever it takes, get it out of me.
Really? I just thought it was an old dildo.
See, it's past the anal shelf there, and it's not coming back.
I'm thinking my man lost it. You know what I mean, he lost grasp of it, and it,
Yeah. Well, I'd say, thank God. I mean, World War I explosive; those things barely worked when they were made. So,
they're still exploding in the ocean. Boats run into them.
Fair. But I'm just saying, you add 105 years to it, it might be, you might be okay there, Chach. Yeah. Like it might work out.
The TNT's sleeping. Amish family's horse and buggy stolen from Walmart parking lot during shopping trip.
Now that's fucked up. I mean, obviously any thief knows there's no alarm on it, but
Right.
you know, you've got an easy getaway in theory.
Yeah, it's
but
also not like you can speed off. Also, you've got to have some horse knowledge.
I am curious though. Yeah, you do. That's a very good point. You know, I always think about like, you know, somebody stealing a manual vehicle that they're not. Horse is a whole different skill set entirely. Does this thing have a clutch?
Dude, I thought you said it was a Mustang. It is.
Yeah. But I am curious. I guess I'm learning the Amish can go to Walmart.
Right.
That is the you know, no disrespect. Whatever your beliefs are, go for it. But I assumed that wasn't cool. A lot of fluorescent lighting.
Yeah.
You know, when they see a Duck Dynasty flip flop, does it even make sense to them?
Yeah, I'm thinking they kind of got outed. Is what happened.
You think that?
I think they were not supposed to be there, but they're like, I'm sick of having to kill the pigs. Let's just go get some ham.
Just a jealous Amish family that was tired of them going to Walmart and was like, well, Jebediah's going to get found out when his whole horse and buggy disappears.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's going to be really hard to defend yourself when they're like, how did you know they were at Walmart? Were you also at Walmart?
I was in the parking lot churning butter. Well, yeah, sure.
I mean, how do you even report that stolen? Do they know they have to report it stolen? How did I even find out about this? How do you know it's your buggy? It's not like it has a fucking VIN number.
My guess is that it's small enough. It's like, you know, if somebody steals like the poop in an envelope you mailed to yourself, like, well, nobody else has that. In the party, be like, well, sir, no one else had a horse and buggy.
Well, I imagine they go to the suspect's house. They're like, all right, let's look in the yard. I see a broken down Suburban, Oldsmobile, buggy. There we go. I think this is the house.
A fleet of conventional stolen vehicles, Honda Civics,
Yeah.
horse and buggy. You feeding this thing?
All right. Teen facing charges for allegedly taping fish to ATMs.
Well, innocent until proven guilty. I'd like to say, first of
Let
all,
him do it.
Allegedly is very important.
He could be doing way worse things.
Yeah, it's a pretty...
Also, it's pretty funny. Taping fish to an ATM, that's so good.
My big question is about the adhesion of the fish. You
Duct
know,
tape.
every...
Duct tape.
You think duct tape can
That's what he
overcome
was
the...
using. I saw the picture.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And they're pretty big fish.
Like, somebody paid like $30 for this at the market. Like, where are you even getting these, sir? Yeah, as far as vandalism is concerned, that's a pretty low
I've got
level.
so many questions. Why fish? Why ATMs? Why are you taping fish to ATMs?
ATMs is a dicey choice too, because you know they have cameras.
Yeah.
Inevitably, they have cameras.
Yeah, good point.
So yeah, you're guaranteed to get found out that way. But what is the crime? You know, what in the law book? Maybe that's what inspired it.
Law number 135, taping fish
It's
to objects.
I think you're full of shit. I don't think that's a real law at all. But maybe that's the thing. They were just trying to thread the needle of penal code. They were like, all right, there is nothing against taping fish to ATMs. But they trumped up something. It's
We're
like,
just sick of it.
It's yeah, exactly. It's like what we were talking about earlier. Like, we'll just find a way to call this a crime.
Yeah.
This feels illegal.
Yeah.
Is that it for Adam?
That's definitely that kid's too. If he's an action figure, he's coming with duct tape and fish.
Oh yeah, that's his. Those are his two desert island.
Hey, wherever you are, kid, fucking good on you, man. That's a good one. Can you imagine seeing that? If I walked past that, I would just fucking crack up. I'd be like, why? Why did that
Well,
happen?
yeah, because I would think, you know, you said they were pretty big fish. If it was a small fish, like that you would tape to the back of the ATM, it's like, oh, you're trying to stink up the joint in like an incognito sort of way.
You're taped on the front, like across the screen.
Like this is no longer a functioning ATM until the fish is removed.
We're gonna have to find a different ATM cashier. Why? There's a fish taped to it. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I'm not touching it. And I wouldn't trust a fish like that either. It seems like it might have a bomb in it. I don't mean to be that guy, but
Right.
But that's, you always...
World War I explosive in its rectum.
Yeah, you want your IED to be something that's kind of out of place, likely to get fucked with. Fish on an ATM, way up there. Somebody's going to touch it for sure. All right, Chris, we've got fact or fiction tides.
Yeah. Tides are bullshit, in my opinion. If you ask me, that is fiction.
Just the fundamental premise of a tide.
Or them allegedly having something to do with the moon. Okay. Yeah. Oh, our oceans just follow the moon. You're right. No. That's baloney.
This is the first... as a people, we've gone towards flat Earth and just a general dumbness. And I think that...
I'll give you. It's a circle. The world is a weird ball. Okay?
It's more of a fishbowl, see? No, but I think an anti-gravity take would probably trump all
why
of those.
Gravity? How does that work? You're going to have to explain this to me because it makes no sense.
The sheer size of the object is, what
So the moon is pulling...
Yeah, like I don't know the exact science, but in theory, a person could have, gravitational pull. It's not large enough to, functionally do that, but it's truly just so Jupiter, if I'm not mistaken, Jupiter, if you exclude the sun, has more mass than all the other planets in our solar system combined. It's massive. And the gravity is such on that planet, and it's purely a size thing, that if you were to try to stand on, you'd be 4,000 pounds or something. That's the gravitational. There's a million other reasons. It's also a gas planet. You'd die for other reasons before that, but...
So you just called me heavy and gaseous.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Trying to explain, trying to backpedal. Listen, anybody on Jupiter would be at least 3,500 pounds. But yeah, the moon's got just enough size to yank on some water.
Why isn't it pulling me then?
I don't know that it's stronger than the Earth's gravitational pull. So the moon's enough to mess with water, but it's not pulling water off of the Earth. It's just kind of pulling some water kind of towards it a little bit. It
doesn't make sense.
It's just
fiction.
Well, I took oceanography a million years ago and skipped almost every class. So my knowledge is minimal here. But so Chris is settling on fiction then for fact or fiction tides.
Fake. Not real.
All right, Gucci or Greasy, scratching lottery tickets within 10 feet of the machine. Okay. First off, they're scratching within 10 feet of the machine, and then they're scratching within 2 feet of the cashier.
Those are different. You know what? Fair. Let's do that then, because I'll give you 10 feet. I was going to say Greasy, but what I was thinking of...
But since I named something far greasy...
Yeah, what I was thinking of was that situation. I don't know why I made it 10 feet, I think, to make it a debate. But, yeah, that is Greasy. That's somebody who really needs the dough. It's maybe you shouldn't have bought the scratch off. You really thought you were going to turn this 2 into 10?
Okay, Chris, this is how I'm going to retire. Now, I have a buddy, a high school friend that he's a character, definitely gets himself into trouble, but...
Hijinks.
Yeah, hijinks for sure. And he had $2 and really wanted to get high, so... Best way to salvation is to buy a scratch off. And he turned it into $10.
Ooh.
Yeah, right? Pay dirt. He buys more scratch offs.
Oh, no.
He gets $40.
Oh, my God. Keep going. Don't stop.
Got a hot hand in a dice game. But to have weed in your grasp, you had the dime bag. And like Icarus, or I would have thought he would have flown too close to the sun, but he wins $40. There's some karmic thing that he fucked up there where, in exchange for that, God's going to take one of his toes in the future or something.
Get 2 dime bags and a bunch of snacks. Because I'm assuming this took place at a 7-Eleven.
Yeah, and it all happened within mere feet of the cashier.
Yeah. You bet that had to make the cashier's day. Oh, shit. Way to go.
Let him cook.
Yeah. Shit, I gotta buy some of these.
All right, so we're agreeing on greasy there. Okay, the Wikipedia page for the day is David Hahn, the Radioactive Boy Scout. So David Hahn, as he was a Boy Scout, I think eventually hit Eagle Scout. I don't know why that was important, but created a very small nuclear reactor in his backyard. And
why?
Because he wanted to see if he could do it, and he fucking could.
Okay, so he had enough knowledge about radioactivity to know how to create a reactor, or even maybe, but not enough about radioactivity to know that it's bad.
Well, let me clarify. He didn't successfully create a full reactor, but he did create like a neutron source, and he mostly got this by taking, I think it's pronounced americium, but it's a radioactive element, and they have them in smoke detectors, thorium from camping mantles, you got radium from clocks, tritium from gun sights.
The fuck?
And then, his reactor was a bored-out block of lead, and he used lithium from $1,000 worth of purchased batteries to purify the thorium ash using a Bunsen burner.
Where did this kid get $1,000?
I mean,
and why is that the thing he's spending it on? Get a go-kart.
It's a great point. Go-karts are sweet.
Fuck me. Can you imagine being the parents? They're like, what's David doing with all the smoke detectors? I don't know. He's not bothering me, though. Yet.
See, that's one of those things. It's like, I remember reading a Reddit post. The question was something to the effect of, have you ever ended up on like a government watch list or had them at your door? And somebody found a smoking deal on a whole lot of pressure cookers. Turns out buying a few pallets of pressure cookers. And I would argue that 1,000 smoke detectors is one of those things where, again, we're back to this. I don't know if it's a crime. I'm going to call it a crime.
Yeah.
I'm going to err on the side of getting you away from
this. That's a safety device versus something that can be used as a bomb. So, I don't know. I guess he's safe.
Well, what's he doing with all these? Yeah. There's no way this house burns down.
No chance. No chance.
So, and then his property, his mother's property, ultimately became a Superfund hazardous material cleanup site. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so unfortunately, though, by the time they did this, his mom was already quite concerned about the ramifications and had already just thrown away a lot of the radioactive material in the garbage. So,
oh my God, educate this family. Jesus Christ. Nobody's familiar with Chernobyl.
No.
Nobody cares.
It's
Have you seen what some of the people who refuse to leave Chernobyl look like now?
They've got 7 eyes. No, I'm just making shit up.
Yeah, well, we don't even know. They say it takes like 3 generations before the effects really start to show physically. So that's coming up. That's gonna be fun. That'll be interesting. You thought Russian people looked weird before.
I'm going to be sitting in some 140-degree weather in Seattle reading the news.
Look at the heads on this guy.
What fresh hell is this? All right, we've got one Mike story, and I'm going to try to remember this one truly properly because it's easy for me to jump in the wrong place. So, for a while, my brother worked with my dad in Hawaii. So my brother's...
I love this story.
My brother's a crane operator, and my dad's a glazer at this point in his career. So he installs windows on huge buildings. And my dad was up doing... he was working up on, some platform high up, and he was by himself. And somebody comes over to Clay and is like... you got to come calm your dad down. It's like, oh, gee, didn't know that I signed up for that. Didn't know I'm like my father's
I love
keeper.
this a lot because, one, you have to calm your dad down. Just alone, funny sentence.
Yeah.
But, yeah, exactly. I didn't know I was in charge of this.
Yeah.
He's your employee.
Yeah.
I think that trumps him being my dad.
Yeah. Well, Mike has got away for a long time by being very good at his job and otherwise being pretty incorrigible and just sort of seeing where that lands on the spectrum for him. So, what are the results of that? So Clay walks over to see my dad's up there yelling at the safety person because she's asked him to turn down his music, and he's like, I'm the only one fucking working up here, blah, blah, blah. He's just losing his mind. He's just completely snapped. So Clay kind of, tries to...
What music was it?
Oh, it had to have been metal, 100%. I mean, it may have been, don't get me wrong, it could have been more like your classic rock type metal. Like, it could have been like Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Rather than like, pure thrash. But yeah, he was listening to some loud fucking obnoxious shit. And
just strung up the side of a building, hanging the window.
Yeah, blasting Black Sabbath. Yeah, exactly. Oh, she didn't even tell him to turn it off. Turn it down, Can we bring in the raining blood a little bit? So, yeah, Clay's called over. He calms Mike down, but then Mike, and this is, height of the pandemic, and he pulls his mask off to smoke, and she's, looking at him for not having a mask on, and he's just, what? Which is an image that I didn't see, but can see exactly. I can see exactly Mike. Yeah, he's just one of those people that's always, he has moments of clarity. I remember one time, there are these roads that lead down from Woodland Park Zoo into Ballard, and they're windy. You've got to go around these, little speed. They're not, I'm trying to even think of the right term, but it's effectively one lane. And so if somebody's already going down that road, you've just got to wait at the bottom and then you go up. And Mike was already going down. Somebody started coming up and decided to just go. They were in the wrong. But Mike, instead of avoiding, conflict, obviously he's in the right, but you could still not escalate this. Mm-hmm. He basically deliberately gets in a car accident. He's just like, I have the right of way. Yeah. And then he's getting out of the car and he's calling this woman a bunch of names. I think he called her the C word, and then he sees in the back that there's kids, and he goes, are your kids okay? You can't pivot to that after you call her. You just have to move on, dude. It's too late. You can't salvage this. But like I said,
howdy, children.
Yeah, you just taught her kids a new word. But how they doing? Their vocabulary just grew.
He called me a runt. Okay?
That's my all-time favorite 30 Rock joke is character going, because they had called Liz the C word, and she's trying to indicate that and says, it rhymes with the name of your favorite Todd Rundgren album, alluding to Runt. He goes, it rhymes with the Hermit of Mink Hollow. This week in history. So, March 12th, 1912, the Girl Guides, later renamed the Girl Scouts of the USA, are founded in the United States. What's your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Oh boy, I don't want to be a hack here.
What's the hack answer? Is it Thin Mints?
Yeah.
I bought 2 boxes last week. Thin Mints were one of them.
Yeah, I like me a Thin Mint. But then what's they probably don't still call them Samoas.
No, they do. I think so. Yeah.
Those are good. I don't know why I thought that was offensive, but maybe it is.
I think origin is probably important. What the reason for... It could just be like a word of completely different origin, or it could be some terribly racist thing that, I'm not sure. But those are my 2. We've already nailed it. We've knocked this one out of the park. There's no conflict here.
What are those ones that are basically, it's like a wafer on the bottom, peanut butter, and it's covered in chocolate?
Tagalongs. I think those are the tagalongs. Yes. Those are solid. And those are, can't go wrong with peanut butter chocolate cookie. I mean,
right.
Clear eyes, full hearts can't lose.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
All right, well, there's no conflict there. The Girl Scouts now take cards.
Oh fuck!
I know, we're ruined.
That's bad news.
We're ruined.
you would think after all these years of avoiding people from high school at the grocery store that I'd be capable of avoiding the Girl Scouts. Not the case.
They also...
Speaking of a case, that's what I bought.
That's... Yeah. Like a box? No, a case. Like a crate.
Give me a pallet!
Yeah, the...
If only the Thin Mints made you thin.
I know. Yeah, as I shotgun an entire sleeve. We were in the freezer, honey. Jesus Christ.
Ooh, I will put those in the freezer. I'm not a big believer in putting...
Yeah, we've talked about some of that. Yeah, the treats in the freezer.
Did we already Gucci or Greasy this topic?
Yeah, we did.
Not a believer in it overall. But there's some things.
But the Thin Mints,
yeah,
that's fair.
I like me a cold Thin Mint.
Sometimes I'll just throw shit in the freezer, test it out. I got a Butterfinger in there. It
tastes cold, and it is cold.
March 15th, 44 BC, the assassination of Julius Caesar takes place on the Ides of March. Who wouldn't want to die surrounded by friends?
Julius Caesar, I'd say.
On this day, a long time ago, Julius Caesar walked in somewhere and said, vibes are weird.
I've been reading a lot about Julius Caesar because he's just fascinating. And not many people know this. And I feel like if people know Elvis died on the toilet, they should know this fact because it's equally as interesting. The last straw between Julius Caesar and basically the entire government was he refused to stand when they entered the room. He stayed seated because he had diarrhea and didn't think he could get up without shitting himself. So they took this as a tremendous sign of disrespect. They said, he has become too big-headed.
Now, is that more disrespectful than getting up and shitting on the floor in front of them? Because that'll get you DQ'd at Westminster any day of the week. That gets you kicked out.
Right, this guy can't even control his shit.
Yeah. Or he can, and he's putting on a big show.
It's not like they could exactly just go get the pressure washer back then either.
No, and you've got to know that some 44 BC food poisoning is some serious shit. That is some heinous stuff.
Yeah, it seems like diarrhea just would have been every day.
There's a lot of diarrhea, and there's a lot of deadly diarrhea. There's a lot, for us, it's like an inconvenience, discomfort. There, it's like,
clean.
There, it's like, this could be the end, man.
Beginning of the end, yeah.
Ate a bad Euro, and that was it.
That's one leaky boy.
All right, March 17th, 1950. Researchers at the University of California, Berkeley announced the creation of Element 98, which they named Californium. Is that the laziest name you've ever heard?
That just made me think of Californication. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, are these guys the Red Hot Chili Peppers? Did Anthony Kiedis find this?
Oh, man, laziest name I've ever heard.
John Johnson. That's what I think of with California. This is.
Well, yeah. I mean, Howard Johnson didn't even bother naming his hotel chain. So there's that, I guess.
He knew that we were all going to call it the Hojo.
The Hojo.
Yeah.
The Hojo Dojo.
They got pretty good food. I don't believe you, sir. Respectfully disagree.
It's pretty good for being free.
Yeah, it's definitely the opposite of DeBrickashaw Ferguson in terms of name creativity.
Yeah, they just took a bunch of sounds. The only thing that's kind of a name in that is Shaw.
It's
Brick Shaw. No.
Oh, but see, as you know, I'm big on the brick names. I'm big on,
Is there more?
Name them off of elements. No, I think that's what I said my kid's name would be, is simply Brick. Not DeBrickashaw. I agree with the center part of the name.
Oh, man, I just remembered, speaking of Hojos, when you work as a touring comic, especially when you're just not making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Until you're doing theaters, which doesn't happen for most people. So there's a lot of guys out there and gals just making ends meet.
Yeah.
And so I've talked to multiple comics who just keep their key cards from the hotels that they stay in. And when they're on the road, they'll just, actually sometimes when they're at home too, they'll just take the key card for that hotel, go there, and have free breakfast. And if anybody asks them, they're like, I'm staying here, 214.
Yeah.
Here's my key.
Yeah, because they're not going to actually check the key for the 80 cents worth of continental breakfast you stole. Yeah. That's brilliant.
We're not really worried about the stale cereal. It just seems suspicious.
It's like when I was a kid and there were kids that had every Metro bus transfer with like every color combo and letter combo. So, you could ride for free once you found out what it was that day.
Huh.
Oh, it's a black P. All right, find a black P one. Boom. Save yourself 75 cents. But yeah, adds up over time.
Well, for any out there trying to skirt the law just a little bit.
Yeah, pretty innocent theft there.
Now you know.
Pretty low level criminality. Yeah, I think that's about it for this episode.
That's episode 40. It was good. It was fun. Thank you for listening. Bucks and 6. Go Pack Go. Anything else?
No. I do think we should put Bucks and 6 in the pentagram to summon your spirit. But that's
what you're chanting.
Yeah, right.
Bucks and 6. Yeah, that might be all you need to do, frankly. Yeah.
That's all I had, though.
All right. Bucks and 6. Bye. Please tell me that.